My name is Jake, and I used to think that when someone you love drops a bomb on your life, you're supposed to fight for them. I was wrong about that. My girlfriend Emma and I had been together for 2 years. We lived in separate apartments but spent most nights together, had keys to each other's places, and had started talking about moving in together officially. I thought we were building something real. Emma worked as a marketing coordinator for a tech startup downtown. The company was small, trendy, and full of the kind of people who went to happy hours every Thursday and posted Instagram stories from rooftop bars. Emma loved that scene, the networking, the after-work drinks, the company retreats to expensive resorts. I worked in logistics for a shipping company. Steady hours, decent pay, nothing glamorous. Emma's friends always seemed slightly disappointed when they asked what I did for work, like they expected someone more exciting for someone as vibrant as Emma. "Jake's very stable," Emma would say when introducing me, and something about the way she said "stable" always made it sound like a consolation prize. But I thought we were happy. We took weekend trips together, binged Netflix shows, talked about getting a dog. Normal couple stuff. Emma seemed content with our relationship, even if her friends thought she could do better. The text came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was reviewing shipping manifests. "Jake, we need to talk when you get home tonight. Something important happened." Nothing unusual there. Emma was dramatic about everything. A bad day at work was a crisis. A disagreement with her roommate was unbearable tension. I'd learned to take her urgency with a grain of salt. But 3 hours later, another text arrived that made my blood freeze. "Actually, I can't wait. I'm pregnant. But it's not yours." I stared at my phone screen for a full minute, reading those 8 words over and over. No context, no explanation, no apology, just a cold, clinical announcement delivered like she was telling me about a dentist appointment. The office around me faded into background noise. My coworkers were discussing quarterly shipment numbers, but I couldn't hear them anymore. All I could hear was the blood rushing in my ears. "It's not yours." So there was someone else. All those late nights at company events and networking mixers. She'd been building a relationship with someone else. Someone who'd gotten her pregnant while I was sitting at home like an idiot, thinking my girlfriend was just very dedicated to her career. My hands were surprisingly steady as I typed back. "Congratulations to the father, then." I hit send before my brain could catch up to what I'd written. The response was immediate. "Jake, wait. Let me explain." I didn't reply. I just sat there staring at my phone, feeling something I hadn't expected. Relief. You see, I'd been sensing something was wrong for weeks. Emma had been distant, secretive about her phone, coming home with stories that didn't quite add up. When I'd try to address it, she'd make me feel like I was being paranoid or controlling. "You're being insecure, Jake. I need space to breathe. Maybe if you were more ambitious, you'd understand the demands of my job." Now it all made sense. The distance wasn't about work stress or needing space. It was about guilt. She'd been living a double life, and now she was pregnant with another man's child. The audacity was breathtaking. She hadn't even had the decency to tell me in person. She'd just sent a text, expecting me to, what? Be grateful for her honesty? Help her figure out what to do next? Play the understanding boyfriend while she decided between me and the father of her child? Not happening. My phone buzzed with another text from Emma. "Please don't do anything rash. Can we meet somewhere to talk?" I turned off my phone and went back to work. For the rest of the afternoon, I functioned on autopilot. I reviewed shipping schedules, answered emails, attended a meeting about warehouse efficiency. But my mind was elsewhere, processing what Emma's confession really meant. She was pregnant with another man's child. That meant she'd been having unprotected sex with someone else while in a relationship with me, someone she knew well enough to be certain about paternity timing. This wasn't a one-night mistake. This was an ongoing affair. I drove home that evening, knowing Emma would be waiting for me. We'd planned to have dinner together, maybe watch a movie. Normal Tuesday night routine for a couple that was supposedly building a future together. Emma's car was in my apartment complex parking lot when I arrived. She was sitting on my front steps, looking nervous but determined. She'd probably been rehearsing her speech all afternoon. Jake, thank God you're here. We need to talk. No, we don't. Yes, we do. This is complicated, and I need you to understand. Understand what? That you've been cheating on me? That you're pregnant with another man's child? What's complicated about that? Emma stood up, following me as I unlocked my front door. It's not that simple. Can we please go inside and discuss this like adults? I held the door open and gestured for her to enter. After you. Once we were inside, Emma immediately launched into what was clearly a prepared speech. Jake, I know this is shocking news and I know how it looks, but I need you to hear me out. Yes, I'm pregnant. And yes, there's a chance the baby isn't yours. But it's not what you think. What do I think, Emma? You think I've been having an affair. But it wasn't like that. It was one night. One stupid, drunken mistake at a company party 3 months ago. Who? What? Who was it? Emma hesitated. It doesn't matter who. It matters to me. Who did you fuck while we were dating? She flinched at my directness. His name is Ryan. He's the vice president of sales at my company. Ryan. I'd heard that name before. Emma had mentioned him in passing, how smart he was, how successful, how he was going places in the company. Ryan Thompson? I asked, remembering more details from Emma's work stories. You know him? I know of him. You've mentioned him before. Multiple times, actually. Emma's face went red. Jake, it was one night. I was drunk. I was confused about our relationship, and I made a terrible mistake. Confused about our relationship? What was confusing about it? I don't know. I was having doubts about whether we were right for each other, whether we wanted the same things. So you decided to test the waters with Ryan? It wasn't like that. What was it like, Emma? Explain to me how accidentally getting pregnant by your VP of sales isn't exactly what it looks like. She started crying, those manipulative tears she always used when caught in lies. I don't know, okay? I was drunk, he was there, one thing led to another. It didn't mean anything. It meant enough to get you pregnant. That was an accident. We used protection. Apparently not very well. Jake, please. I know I screwed up. I know I hurt you. But we can work through this. People overcome mistakes like this all the time. I looked at this woman I'd spent 2 years loving, who was now asking me to help her figure out how to handle her pregnancy by another man. Emma, are you planning to keep the baby? I don't know. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Why would you talk to me about it? Because you're my boyfriend, because I need your support. I'm not your boyfriend anymore. The words came out calm and final. Emma's eyes widened. What do you mean? I mean, we're done. You cheated on me and got pregnant by another man. What exactly is there to continue? But Jake, it was one mistake, one night. One night that you hid from me for 3 months. One night that resulted in pregnancy. One night with a man you clearly had feelings for. I don't have feelings for Ryan. Then why did you sleep with him? I told you I was drunk and confused. Emma, stop lying. You've been talking about Ryan for months. How impressive he is, how successful, how ambitious. You didn't accidentally fall onto his dick. You chose to have sex with him. That's not fair! What's not fair is me finding out my girlfriend is pregnant via text message. I was scared to tell you in person. You were scared because you knew it would end our relationship. Emma collapsed onto my couch, sobbing. Please don't do this. Please don't throw away 2 years over one mistake. I'm not throwing away anything. You already did that when you decided to cheat on me. What am I supposed to do? Talk to Ryan, he's the father. Ryan doesn't want anything to do with the baby. He said it would complicate things at work. Then you picked the wrong guy to have an affair with. I went to my bedroom and started packing Emma's things. She had a drawer of clothes, some toiletries in the bathroom, a few books on my nightstand. 2 years of gradual integration into my life, now being systematically removed. Emma followed me, still crying and pleading. Jake, please don't do this. I love you. I want to be with you. You love me? You have a funny way of showing it. I made one mistake, one stupid mistake. Emma, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices. You chose to drink too much at a company party. You chose to go somewhere private with Ryan. You chose to have unprotected sex with him. You chose to hide it from me for 3 months. I was going to tell you. When? After the baby was born? I don't know, I was scared. Of what? That I'd be upset that my girlfriend cheated on me and got pregnant? I finished packing her belongings into a laundry basket and handed it to her. These are your things. I think you should leave now. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. Jake, please, can't we at least talk about this more? Can't you give me a chance to make this right? How do you make getting pregnant by another man right? I could terminate the pregnancy. We could start over. I stared at her. You'd have an abortion to save our relationship? If that's what it takes, yes. Emma, the problem isn't the pregnancy. The problem is that you cheated on me. The pregnancy is just evidence of the cheating. But if there's no baby, there's no constant reminder. The reminder isn't the baby, Emma. The reminder is that I can never trust you again. She started crying harder. Please don't give up on us. I'm not giving up on us. There is no us anymore. After Emma left, I sat in my apartment feeling strangely calm. My 2-year relationship had just ended. My girlfriend was pregnant with another man's child, and I felt peaceful. I wasn't angry. I wasn't heartbroken. I was just done. I pulled out my phone and systematically blocked Emma's number on every platform. Text messages, social media, email, everything. If she wanted to communicate with me, she'd have to do it through someone else. Then I did something that felt slightly petty but absolutely necessary. I looked up Ryan Thompson online. Finding Ryan wasn't difficult. Emma had mentioned he was VP of sales at her company, and a quick LinkedIn search brought up his profile. Ryan Thompson, 32, ambitious sales executive with a cocky smile and expensive suits in all his photos. He looked exactly like the type of guy Emma would cheat with. Successful, confident, probably smooth-talking and charming. Everything I wasn't, according to her friend group. His LinkedIn profile listed his company email, and a bit more digging through the company website gave me his full contact information. I drove to the drugstore and spent 20 minutes in the greeting card aisle, looking for exactly the right tone. Not congratulations, that would be too obvious. Not anger, that would make me look unhinged. I found it in the sympathy section, a tasteful card with simple text that read, "Thinking of you during this difficult time." Perfect. Back home, I sat at my kitchen table and carefully wrote inside the card, "Dear Ryan, I heard the news about Emma's pregnancy. Congratulations on your new responsibility. I thought you should know that Emma and I have ended our relationship, so you won't have to worry about any awkward complications there. Best of luck with everything. Jake Harrison." I sealed the card in its envelope, addressed it to Ryan Thompson at his office, and drove to the post office to mail it. The whole process took less than 2 hours. By Thursday morning, Ryan would have a greeting card on his desk informing him that his affair partner's boyfriend knew everything and had thoughtfully stepped aside. I imagined Ryan opening the card in front of colleagues, maybe his secretary, possibly other executives. The confusion on his face as he read the message, the dawning realization that Emma had been in a relationship when she slept with him, the panic as he understood that someone else knew about their affair. It was a small, elegant piece of revenge. Nothing dramatic or destructive, just a simple card that would make Ryan's life significantly more complicated. I didn't hear anything from Emma for 48 hours. I assumed she was processing the breakup, maybe talking to friends, possibly trying to figure out her next steps with Ryan. Then my phone started ringing. Not Emma's number, I'd blocked that, but numbers I didn't recognize, one after another. I let them all go to voicemail. The first message was from Emma's best friend, Jessica. "Jake, it's Jessica. Emma is freaking out and needs to talk to you. Can you please call her back? She says it's urgent." The second was from Emma's roommate, Stephanie. "Hey Jake, this is Stephanie. Emma asked me to call you. She's really upset and says there's been some kind of misunderstanding. Please call her." The third was from a number I didn't recognize at all. Hi, this is Ashley. I'm Emma's coworker. She asked me to call you because she can't reach you directly. She says you sent something to Ryan and now everything is really complicated and she needs to explain. Please call her as soon as you get this." I deleted all the voicemails without calling anyone back. Friday afternoon, my work phone rang. My direct office line that Emma shouldn't have had. Jake Harrison speaking. Jake, thank God, it's Emma. How did you get this number? I called your company and asked to be transferred to you. Jake, we need to talk. Something terrible has happened. What happened? Ryan got your card. Good, that was the point. No, you don't understand. He showed it to people at work. Now everyone knows about us. My boss called me into her office this morning and asked about my personal conduct affecting the workplace. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate? Jake, I might lose my job. Ryan is claiming he didn't know I had a boyfriend. He's saying I lied to him and that your card is proof I was cheating on you with him. Weren't you? That's not the point. Ryan is trying to make this look like it's all my fault to protect his own reputation. It is all your fault. Jake, please, you have to help me fix this. How would I fix it? Call Ryan. Tell him you misunderstood. Tell him we were broken up when the affair happened. I laughed. You want me to lie to cover up your affair? I want you to help me save my career. Emma, you should have thought about your career before you decided to fuck your VP of sales. This is insane. You're destroying my life over one mistake. I'm not destroying anything. I sent one card. You're the one who created this situation. What am I supposed to do? Figure it out. You're a smart, ambitious woman. I'm sure you'll think of something. Jake, please, I'm begging you. I'll do anything. There's nothing you can do, Emma. We're over. Your relationship with Ryan is between you and him. I'm not involved anymore. But you are involved. You sent that card. And now my involvement is finished. I hung up and immediately called the front desk to let them know I wouldn't be accepting any more calls from Emma. Over the weekend, the situation apparently exploded. I know this because Emma managed to reach me through increasingly desperate channels. Saturday morning, my brother called. Jake, some woman named Emma has been calling Mom trying to get your number. She says it's an emergency. It's not an emergency. She's my ex-girlfriend and I don't want to talk to her. She seemed pretty upset. Something about her job being in danger? Not my problem. Okay, but she's really persistent. Maybe you should just call her and tell her to leave the family alone? I called my mother and explained the situation. Girlfriend cheated, got pregnant by coworker. We broke up. Now she's facing consequences at work and trying to drag me back into it. Oh, honey, my mom said. I'm so sorry. She seemed so nice when we met her. She is nice, she just isn't faithful. Do you want me to call her back and tell her to stop contacting us? That would be great. Saturday afternoon, Emma's sister called me. Jake? This is Claire, Emma's sister. Emma is having a complete breakdown and she asked me to call you. About what? She says you sent something to her boss that's gotten her in trouble at work. I didn't send anything to her boss. I sent a card to the man who got her pregnant. Right. But apparently he's some kind of executive at her company, and now there's drama about workplace relationships and Emma might get fired. That sounds like something Emma and her executive need to work out. Jake, she's my sister. She made a mistake, but she doesn't deserve to lose her job over it. Claire, Emma didn't just make a mistake. She had an affair, got pregnant, and lied to everyone involved. Actions have consequences. But you sent that card specifically to cause problems. I sent that card to inform the father of Emma's baby that she was no longer in a relationship with someone else. That seemed like information he should have. You're being vindictive. I'm being honest. Emma lied to me for 3 months. She lied to Ryan about being single. She created this whole mess with her dishonesty. I just refused to help her cover it up. Claire hung up on me. Sunday evening, Emma herself showed up at my apartment building. The front desk called to ask if I wanted to see her. Number, please ask her to leave. She says she'll wait in the lobby until you agree to see her. Tell her I'm calling the police if she doesn't leave voluntarily. An hour later, the desk called back. She's gone. Monday morning at work, my assistant told me a woman had been calling all morning asking for me. Same woman as Friday? I think so. She sounds pretty desperate. Don't put her through. If she calls again, tell her I'm not available and won't be taking her calls. Tuesday, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Jake, this is Emma using Ashley's phone. Please read this. I know you're angry, but what you did has destroyed my life. Ryan is claiming I seduced him and lied about being single. HR is investigating our relationship, and I'm probably going to be terminated. My career is over, all because you sent one stupid card. Was your revenge really worth destroying my entire future? I blocked that number too. Wednesday evening, I was having dinner at my favorite restaurant when someone approached my table. Jake? I looked up to see a guy in an expensive suit, mid-30s, with the kind of confident bearing that screamed executive. Ryan Thompson, he said, extending his hand. I think we need to talk. I gestured to the empty chair across from me. Have a seat. Ryan sat down and studied my face. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone more aggressive, angry, the kind of guy who sends threatening letters. I didn't send you a threatening letter. I sent you a congratulations card. Ryan laughed, despite himself. Right. Very creative, by the way. I've never been congratulated on getting someone pregnant before. First time for everything. Listen, I want you to know that I had no idea Emma was in a relationship when things happened between us. She told me it was just one night. It wasn't just one night. I raised an eyebrow. No? We'd been involved for about 2 months. She told me she was single, said she'd gotten out of a long-term relationship and was enjoying her freedom. 2 months. Maybe longer. We were being discreet because of the office situation, but it wasn't just a one-night stand. So Emma had lied about that too. Of course she had. Did she tell you she was pregnant? Eventually, she said she wasn't sure who the father was, but that it probably wasn't her ex-boyfriend because they hadn't been intimate in months. We were intimate 2 weeks before she told me about the pregnancy. Ryan's face darkened. She lied to me too. Seems to be her specialty. Look, I want you to know that I never would have gotten involved with her if I'd known she was cheating on someone. I don't play those games. But you're married. Ryan looked surprised. How did you... Wedding ring, tan line where you usually wear it. He looked down at his hand. It's complicated. It always is. My wife and I are separated, have been for 6 months. Emma knew that. So you're both technically cheating. I guess we are. We sat in silence for a moment. What's going to happen with the baby? I asked. I don't know. Emma keeps changing her story about what she wants to do. First, she said she might terminate. Then she said she wanted to keep it, but raise it alone. Now she's suggesting we should get together for the sake of the child. Are you interested in that? Hell no. Emma is a lot. She's high maintenance, dramatic, and apparently a pathological liar. The last thing I want is to be tied to her for 18 years. Then you should probably use protection next time. Yeah, lesson learned. Ryan leaned back in his chair. Can I ask you something? Shoot. Why the card? Why not just text me directly or call me up and confront me? I thought about it. Because I wanted you to have something physical, something you couldn't delete or ignore, something that would sit on your desk and remind you that actions have consequences. Mission accomplished. Half my department saw me open that card. And Emma's facing workplace consequences as a result. Emma's facing consequences because she lied to everyone and created a mess. You just made sure the mess couldn't be hidden. I nodded. Exactly. For what it's worth, I think you handled this better than most guys would have. How so? You didn't try to win her back. You didn't make a scene. You didn't threaten me or try to cause problems for me personally. You just made sure the truth came out and walked away. Seemed like the cleanest solution. It was. Emma keeps saying you're being vindictive, but honestly, you were more mature about this than she was. Ryan stood up to leave. I hope things work out for you, man. You seem like a decent guy. Thanks. Good luck with your situation. Yeah, I'm going to need it. After Ryan left, I sat there finishing my dinner and thinking about how different this conversation had been from what I'd expected. Ryan wasn't the villain I'd imagined. He was just another person who'd been lied to by Emma. The real villain was Emma herself, the person who'd created this entire mess with her dishonesty and then tried to manipulate everyone else into cleaning it up for her. The next few weeks brought increasingly desperate attempts from Emma to reestablish contact, each one more pathetic than the last. My landlord called to tell me someone had been asking about my lease renewal and whether I was planning to move. When he described the woman, it was clearly Emma trying to figure out my housing situation. My gym membership got a call from someone claiming to be my girlfriend, asking about my workout schedule. The staff member who took the call described Emma perfectly. Emma somehow got hold of my work schedule and started showing up at places she knew I'd be. The coffee shop I went to every morning before work, the grocery store I used on weekends, the gas station near my apartment. Each time, I'd see her and immediately leave without acknowledging her presence. It became a game of avoidance that I always won because I had no desire to engage. The most desperate attempt came on a Friday evening 3 weeks after the Ryan encounter. I came home from work to find Emma sitting in the lobby of my apartment building, holding a manila envelope. The security guard looked apologetic. I told her she couldn't wait here, but she said she had legal documents that needed to be delivered. She doesn't have legal documents, I told him. She's my ex-girlfriend and I don't want to speak with her. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, the guard said to Emma. Jake, please, Emma called out as I walked toward the elevator. I have something you need to see. I ignored her and got on the elevator. 20 minutes later, there was a knock at my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Emma standing in the hallway, still holding her envelope. Jake, I know you're in there. I just need 5 minutes. I didn't respond. I have proof that the baby is yours. I got a paternity test. That got my attention. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. What are you talking about? Emma's face lit up with relief that I'd finally spoken to her. I got a prenatal paternity test. The baby is yours, not Ryan's. Show me. She handed me the envelope. Inside was a document from a medical laboratory showing the results of a prenatal paternity test. According to the document, I was 99.7% likely to be the father of Emma's baby. I studied the document carefully. The dates lined up. The methodology looked legitimate. The laboratory was real. I'd heard of them before. Where did you get this test done? Downtown Medical Center. Dr. Williams ordered it for me. And you're saying Ryan isn't the father? Apparently not. The timing must have been wrong. I thought it was his because of the timing of everything, but I was wrong. I handed the document back to her. Okay, that's it? Jake, this changes everything. The baby is yours. We can work this out. Emma, you still cheated on me. But the baby is yours. That doesn't undo the affair. But it means I didn't get pregnant by another man. No, it means you got pregnant by me while having an affair with another man. Emma's face fell. I don't understand. Isn't this good news? Good news? Emma, you spent 3 weeks telling me I wasn't the father. You let me believe you were carrying Ryan's child. You put me through the emotional trauma of thinking my girlfriend was pregnant by her affair partner. But I was wrong. The baby is yours. Being wrong doesn't undo the damage, Emma. But we can be a family now. We can get back together and raise our child. I looked at this woman who'd put me through hell for 3 weeks, who'd lied to me for months, who'd had an affair and gotten pregnant, and then spent weeks frantically trying to manage the fallout. Emma, even if this test is accurate, and even if you're telling the truth about being wrong about paternity, you still cheated on me. You still lied to me. You still chose to have an affair with your coworker. It was a mistake. Mistakes are single incidents. Affairs are patterns of behavior. I can change. I can be better. The time to be better was before you decided to cheat on me. But the baby? If the baby is mine, we'll work out custody and support arrangements through lawyers. But that doesn't mean we're getting back together. You're going to abandon your own child? I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm refusing to be in a relationship with someone I can't trust. But I love you. You loved me when you were cheating too, apparently. Emma started crying again. What am I supposed to do? Be a good mother. Learn from your mistakes. Try to be more honest in your next relationship. I don't want a next relationship. I want you. You should have thought about that before you decided to fuck Ryan Thompson. I closed the door and left Emma crying in the hallway. The paternity test results bothered me more than I wanted to admit. Not because they changed how I felt about Emma, but because they meant I was going to be a father whether I wanted to be or not. I called a lawyer the next morning. Mr. Harrison, what can I do for you? My ex-girlfriend is pregnant and claims the baby is mine. I need to understand my legal obligations and rights. Are you disputing paternity? No, I think the baby probably is mine. But I want to establish custody and support arrangements without getting back together with the mother. That's certainly possible. We can help you navigate the legal aspects while keeping your personal relationship separate. Within a week, I had legal representation and a clear plan for handling the situation. If Emma's baby was mine, I would fulfill my financial obligations and seek joint custody. But I would not be resuming any kind of romantic relationship with Emma. Emma tried to contact me a few more times through various intermediaries, but the message was always the same. She wanted to reconcile. I was not interested. Please communicate through lawyers going forward. 2 months later, Emma gave birth to a healthy baby girl. The hospital contacted me as the listed father, and I went to see my daughter for the first time. She was beautiful. Perfect little fingers and toes, a full head of dark hair, and eyes that looked exactly like mine. Emma was recovering from delivery when I arrived. She looked tired but hopeful when she saw me. "Jake, she's beautiful, isn't she?" "She is. I named her Sophie Marie. That's a pretty name. Do you want to hold her?" I held my daughter for the first time and felt something shift inside my chest. This tiny person was mine. Not because of Emma, not because of the circumstances of her conception, but because she was mine. "She looks like you," Emma said softly. "Yeah, she does. Jake, I know things between us are complicated, but maybe now that she's here. Emma, she's beautiful and I already love her, but that doesn't change anything between us." "But she needs both her parents." "She'll have both her parents, just not in the same house." We worked out a custody arrangement through our lawyers. I would have Sophie every other weekend and 1 evening per week. I'd pay child support and contribute to all major expenses. We'd make parenting decisions together but separately. It wasn't the family structure I'd imagined when I first thought about having children, but it was functional and fair. Emma and I settled into a co-parenting routine that worked surprisingly well. We communicated primarily through text about Sophie's needs and schedule. We were polite at exchanges, but didn't socialize beyond what was necessary for our daughter. Emma had kept her job, though her relationship with Ryan had ended badly. Apparently, Ryan's wife had found out about the affair and was proceeding with their divorce, naming Emma as a contributing factor. Ryan had been demoted and eventually left the company. Emma seemed to have learned something from the experience. She was focused on being a good mother and rebuilding her professional reputation. She didn't date anyone, as far as I knew, and stopped trying to reconcile with me. As for me, I was adjusting to fatherhood and loving it. Sophie was an easy baby, happy, healthy, and already showing signs of a strong personality. When she was with me, she was the center of my world. I started dating again, casually at first, then more seriously. I was upfront with women about my situation. I had a daughter with my ex. We co-parented effectively but weren't getting back together, and anyone who wanted to be with me would need to be okay with that arrangement. Most women were fine with it. A few weren't, and that was okay too. The woman I was seeing now, Rachel, was a teacher who loved kids and thought my dedication to Sophie was attractive rather than a burden. We'd been together for 3 months and things were going well. Emma had asked about my dating life once, during a custody exchange. "I heard you're seeing someone." "I am." "Is it serious?" "Getting there." "Does she know about everything that happened between us?" "She knows we had an affair issue that ended our relationship and that we co-parent Sophie. She doesn't need to know all the details." Emma nodded, looking sad. "I'm glad you're happy." "Thank you." "Jake, can I ask you something?" "What?" "Do you think you'll ever forgive me?" I considered the question while Sophie played with her toy blocks between us. "Emma, I'm not angry with you anymore, but forgiveness and trust are different things. I can forgive you for making mistakes, but I can't trust you with my heart again." "I understand." "Do you? Because you spent months trying to convince me that one grand gesture or one piece of good news would fix everything. But that's not how trust works. I know that now." "Good. Because Sophie needs both of us to be healthy, stable people. She doesn't need us to be together, but she needs us to be good parents." "I'm trying to be better." "I can see that. Keep it up." A year after Emma's confession text, my life looked completely different. I had a beautiful daughter who was the light of my life. I had a serious girlfriend who understood my priorities and supported my role as a father. I had a co-parenting relationship with Emma that functioned well without drama. Most importantly, I had my self-respect. People sometimes asked if I regretted how I handled the situation, if I thought I was too harsh, too unforgiving, too quick to end things with Emma. My answer was always the same. Emma didn't just cheat on me. She lied to me for months, let me believe I wasn't the father of my own child, and tried to manipulate multiple people to avoid consequences for her actions. The cheating was bad enough, but the sustained deception was what made reconciliation impossible. When someone shows you who they are through their actions, believe them. Emma had shown me that she was willing to lie, cheat, and manipulate to get what she wanted. That wasn't the kind of person I wanted to build a life with, no matter how much I might have loved her once. The card I'd sent to Ryan had been petty, sure, but it had also served a purpose. It had forced the truth into the open and prevented Emma from continuing to manipulate the situation. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is refuse to enable their destructive behavior. By walking away and forcing Emma to face the consequences of her choices, I'd actually helped her grow as a person. She was a better mother now than she would have been if I'd taken her back and allowed her to continue living without accountability. 18 months after the breakup, I ran into Ryan Thompson at a coffee shop downtown. He looked older, tired, but more relaxed than when we'd met at the restaurant. "Jake, right? Ryan, how are you doing? Better than I was a year ago? Mind if I sit?" We sat at a small table by the window, both of us holding overpriced lattes. "I heard you and Emma are co-parenting well," Ryan said. "We are. It took some adjustment, but we found a rhythm that works for Sophie." "Sophie's your daughter?" "Yeah. Turns out Emma was wrong about the paternity timeline." Ryan shook his head. "Of course she was. Emma was wrong about a lot of things." "How did your situation resolve?" "Divorce finalized 6 months ago. Expensive, but clean. My ex-wife got the house and half my retirement, but at least it's over." "And Emma?" "Haven't spoken to her since I left the company. I heard she's doing well, though, focused on being a mother." "She is. It's been good for her." Ryan studied my face. "You're not bitter about any of this, are you?" "Not anymore. It worked out the way it needed to work out." "Even though you lost Emma?" "Ryan, I didn't lose Emma. I discovered who Emma really was and made the decision that I deserved better." "Fair point." We sat in comfortable silence for a moment. "Can I tell you something?" Ryan asked. "Sure. That card you sent me? It was the best thing that could have happened." "How so?" "It forced me to confront what I was doing. I'd been telling myself that my affair with Emma was just a distraction while my marriage was falling apart. But your card made me realize I was just using her the same way she was using you." "Using her how?" "As an escape from my real problems. Instead of dealing with my marriage issues honestly, I was having an affair with a coworker. Instead of being upfront about what I wanted, I was letting Emma think we might have a future together." "Did you think you might have a future together?" "Number Emma is beautiful and fun, but she's also exhausting. High maintenance, dramatic, always creating problems that other people have to solve. I was never going to leave my wife for her." "But you let her think you might?" "I let her think whatever kept her available when I wanted company. It wasn't fair to her." "And the card changed that?" "The card made me realize that my actions were affecting real people in real ways. You weren't some abstract concept. You were a guy who loved his girlfriend and thought he was going to be a father. Emma wasn't just a fun distraction. She was a woman who'd destroyed her relationship based partly on promises I had no intention of keeping." I nodded. "So what did you learn?" "That honesty is less complicated than lies, even when it's more painful in the short term." "That's a good lesson." "Yeah, I'm seeing someone new now. A woman from outside work. I was upfront with her from the beginning about my divorce, my mistakes, everything. It's been refreshing to have a relationship based on truth instead of convenience." "I'm glad things worked out for you." "Thanks. And Jake? For what it's worth, I think Emma knows she screwed up the best thing she ever had." "Maybe, but that's not my problem anymore." Ryan finished his coffee and stood to leave. "Take care of yourself, and that little girl of yours." "I will." After he left, I sat there thinking about how strange life could be. A year and a half ago, Ryan had been the villain in my story, the man who'd stolen my girlfriend and destroyed my relationship. Now, he was just another person who'd been caught up in Emma's web of lies and had learned from the experience. The real story hadn't been about me versus Ryan, or even me versus Emma. It had been about honest people versus dishonest behavior, and eventually, honesty had won. 2 years after Emma's pregnancy confession, I was living a life I couldn't have imagined during those dark weeks of betrayal and heartbreak. Rachel and I had moved in together, and she'd developed a wonderful relationship with Sophie. Sophie called her Aunt Rachel and lit up whenever she saw her. Rachel never tried to replace Emma as Sophie's mother, but she provided a stable, loving presence in both our lives. Emma had started dating someone new, a divorced father she'd met through a single-parent support group. From what I could tell through our brief interactions, he seemed like a decent guy who understood the complications of co-parenting. Emma appeared happier and more stable than I'd seen her in years. Sophie was thriving. At 2 years old, she was walking, talking, and showing signs of inheriting my analytical mind and Emma's social confidence. She moved easily between her two homes and seemed to understand that she had lots of people who loved her, even if they didn't all live together. The co-parenting arrangement had evolved into something that worked well for everyone. Emma and I communicated respectfully about Sophie's needs. We attended her pediatric appointments together, celebrated her milestones separately but equally, and managed to put our daughter's welfare ahead of any lingering personal issues. Most importantly, I'd learned something valuable about my own character. I was capable of walking away from someone I loved when staying would have been destructive for both of us. That wasn't easy to learn, but it was necessary. People often asked me if I regretted sending that card to Ryan, if I thought it was too vindictive, too calculated, too cruel. My answer was always the same. The card wasn't about revenge, it was about truth. Emma had created a situation built on lies and manipulation. She'd lied to me about her affair, lied to Ryan about being single, and tried to manipulate both of us into accepting responsibility for her choices without full information. The card simply ensured that everyone involved had the same facts. What they did with those facts was up to them. Ryan chose to end his affair with Emma and work on becoming a more honest person in his future relationships. Emma chose to face the consequences of her actions and focus on becoming a better mother and person. I chose to prioritize my own emotional health and build a life based on honesty and respect. All of those were good outcomes that might not have happened if the truth had remained hidden. The card wasn't revenge, it was clarity. And sometimes clarity is the most powerful tool you can use to improve a bad situation.